And we, a bit of housekeeping, we also requested to have the line item member Ayers memo regarding the coding system. We had a conversation briefly last week, and it did not make it on today's agenda, and that was a Scribner's error. Without objection, let's go ahead and bring that line item back, and that was regarding, and member Ayers will remind us.
That was regarding the priority dispatch protocol and the changes within. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. If you all please introduce yourselves.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Council. Mike Nevin, President, Local 344, Detroit Firefighters Union.
Okay.
William Harp, Vice President, Local 344, Detroit Firefighters Union.
All right, over here.
So, for anyone that didn't get a chance to watch or listen last week, I submitted a memo to the fire department in regards to the changes in their protocol and their priority dispatching, the way that they have done it. I had some concerns regarding some of the nuances that are in there and just its overall effect on general public health and safety, not just for our citizens, but also for our first responders. There were some actions that were supposed to take place. Following that meeting, I did receive the answers from the commissioner. However, they were very vague, and so, but I appreciate him answering. He did give me the answers by the end of the day. At this point, I am aggressively working to try to mitigate some of these things, and there were a few events that have occurred since the last time we all were together that I think have a direct impact on this protocol and how it should be changed. But I can open this to them.
If we can, just in keeping the time, please.
Through the chair. Well, you know, 33 years ago, I took an oath of obligation to protect and serve. And so did Mr. Harp, and so did the firefighters and EMS workers. And that's an oath of obligation to protect and serve the public. Not only does that include running into fires, helping people in accidents or scenes, treacherous scenes that they can't mitigate, it also means telling them the truth about how they're going to be served by their public servants. I sat here today and listened for quite a while about dogs and the urgency to get licenses and how we're going to rodent control and whatnot. And now we're talking about people's lives. This code system that was invented by the civilians that are running the fire department is endangering firefighters, EMS workers, but most of all, the citizens we protect and serve. All weekend I've been recording and or pulling audio from a number of runs that I'm going to forward to you, and I appreciate your office, sir, and Mrs. Ayers and Mr. McAllister's for reaching out. I've talked to people on your staffs, and I am compiling that information to present to you so you could listen to the audio. I'm actually going to have our lawyers transcribe it so you can read the way the runs come in, the time it took for us to respond to the runs, and so you can have a better understanding. Incident after incident, we are jeopardizing the safety of our members, we are confusing our members, and we are getting to the people we were sworn to protect later. We had an incident this weekend where we had a woman on the phone. Nope, okay, very good. We'll skip that. I've got damaging proof that this is an absolute failure. When the commissioner and these people come to speak about their defense of this policy that circumvented the Joint Health and Safety Committee, circumvented the collective bargaining unit, went around all protocols again, they failed to realize that we protect one of the biggest waterways in the United States. We cover 139 square miles. Boston, San Francisco, and Manhattan can fit inside the city of Detroit. We are understaffed, undermanned, but yet we want the people we protect and serve and visitors that we're on our way and we're coming. When you're trapped in that vehicle, or you're stuck on that second or third floor, or you're ambulatory and you're a senior, you hear those sirens and you know we're coming. It gives you that sense of peace and that sense of relief to get your senses correct, to protect yourself and or give yourself that hope. These code 2s are not the only issue right now, because from what I've discovered, we are not being sent on commercial box alarms anymore, which is for protection of the, it's occupied apartments, schools, any kind of public building. We send a commercial box alarm. We're not doing that. We're not sending our rigs for traffic control when EMS is on a major thoroughfare, and these are all policies. We're not sending an engine or a truck now to block, which happens in every city. We send a rig to basically help with traffic. Detroit firefighters have a unique position in our city. Everybody knows, and family members know, and it's no secret that if you're in trouble and you've got an issue on your block or you're somewhere, call the fire department. Call them now. Tell them you're trapped in a fire because 21 guys are coming swinging axes in 4 minutes. It's those sirens that people hear that detour crime, that detour an event that could go wrong. We're used in many different ways. Now we're not being sent on priorities to wires down, car accidents, rescues, and the thing that's most disturbing is residential and or commercial alarms. We talk about smoke detectors. Did you check your batteries? Do you have your smoke detectors up? Well, in today's world, we have hardwired smoke detectors, and we have systems that are put in commercial buildings that trigger central office when those mechanisms pick up smoke or carbon monoxide. And when it triggers the 911 program, we respond. Now those are code 2s. We've had numerous incidents where we've had senior complexes, fully occupied apartments, and we're being told no lights, no sirens, take your time. This is the most ignorant response in the United States that I can even imagine. Let's not lose sight of not only the size of the city, the fact that Detroit firefighters respond to nearly 4,000 incidents a month. We respond to nearly 2,100 medical first responder runs a month, and that the EMS techs are responding to near 12,100 runs a month. That's near 7,000 runs. So when they come before you and they go, well, look, nothing's happened, because they got the crystal ball and they're rolling the dice. Well, when you look at the magnitude of runs we have, it's going to smooth out to a point where it may not look as bad as it really is, but it only takes one incident and one breakdown of what's happening here and how we respond. That's going to be the catalyst for this. Now, I did meet with the mayor on Thursday, myself and Jones, Commissioner Jones. Jones dug in. He said, I'm not changing a thing. Matter of fact, he put some IAFF. He was like the union guy. He said, look, I've got IAFF stuff up here. And he discussed other cities, Boston, Phoenix, cities that have no comparison to the city of Detroit whatsoever. Cities that have implemented a 311 non-emergent phone service that we tried during the 90s under Kay Everett and Dennis Archer, the 911 task force that I was a part of back in the day.
I have to ask you to bring us to a close, please.
Well, this is why I'm trying to be better today. It is important for me to articulate what's happening because I know the public's watching. I want the public to know that this union and your firefighters and your EMS workers have come to City Council, they've come to the mayor's office, and they are alerting the public to what's going on. Because when we're not there and you don't hear those sirens, we didn't do that. This is a civilian administrative move made by people that have never even come through a fire academy in any large city. This is a very deadly change to our system. We've got a box alarm, a still alarm.
Captain?
We talked about dogs for about 40 minutes.
Captain, that was also a line discussion. And I appreciate what
I thought I was
said.
today too. You said it was a Scrivener's error, sir.
It was.
Okay.
So once again,
If-
thank you. We're going to go to member Ayers, and then we'll come back to you, and then we'll go to member McAllister. Member Ayers?
Okay. Let me put this on the record first, and so it comes right out of my mouth, so there's no need for anybody to try to figure it out. Let me be very clear that council does not have the authority to suspend the policy. It has to come from the mayor or from the commissioner. However, I do believe that it is our responsibility, particularly in this committee, to review policies and any nuances that we find questionable or threatening to the health and safety of our citizens and our first responders. And that is why this conversation is happening here. Furthermore, I've heard that you haven't talked to the commissioner. You haven't. No, I did not. I talked to the people that are the practitioners of this job. Those are the people that I've talked to. And I've talked to them on the ground, and I've talked to them. I've spent hours upon hours in many firehouses, east side, west side, talking to black people, white people, purple people, whoever it is. And at the end of the day, everybody has the right to come to this table. They have the right to bring up any issues that they may have because we work for them. And that is why we're having this conversation here. And the problem that I find with it is that this is a conversation that should have happened with the administration of the department, with the Joint Health and Safety Committee that was founded within the department, and also with the union. Because when you start to change standard operating procedures, people that do the job are most affected by it, because if they don't do it to that demand, then they are then taken down on charges or what have you. And so it didn't have to get here, but if we're not using effective communication, that's how we end up here. And so I appreciate you, Mr. Chair, for allowing us to bring this up so that we can work on it. So I would ask that, and I won't make the motion now, but if we can revisit this in 30 days as a line item so that we can continue to aggressively work on it.
Member McAllister?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the things that I've also been working on this week is the fact that Captain Nevin, the fact of the matter is this has started with the EMS as a code. So now it's going and relating to the fire trucks.
Yes, sir.
So my thing is, me being an ex-police officer, the next thing, okay, if we get those two passed, then the next thing is that we're now going to say police cars are not going to no longer have emergency lights or sirens. So that's what we're getting. So we're talking about the public safety. And then the other thing is, I understand that someone wrote something that they're trying to pattern after. But what they did, as you stated, was the fact that they did it in the comparison. The city of Detroit is like, the pattern of this is like no other, Mr. Chair. And so therefore, they're trying to pattern something, I think, one was like Arizona and somewhere else, where they got miles and miles of roads that just go there. There's no street lights. So now you're trying to pattern something and put something on the citizens of Detroit as far as safety. You know, then when I look at some of the homes in my district, I mean, you're talking about hundreds to $1 million homes. And if they're burned down, then it takes a while. And as I stated before, they have to respond within 8 minutes. They have to be there by 8 minutes, 12 minutes overall. So now you're talking about response time, and again, it affects the citizens of Detroit as far as the safety measures, Mr. Chair. And, you know, that's something that I just, you know, that's what we're here for. As Member Ayers has stated, we're here to represent the people of the city of Detroit. And although it might be some other entities, we still have to be concerned as how this affects our citizens. So that's, you know, that's just an issue that I've looked at over the weekend as far as the research that I've done. And as Member Ayers said, if we bring this back in 30 days, I think more information is going to come out about this and how they're trying to change things. And, you know, it's just something that, again, is it policy or trying to get something that's right, or is it the safety and the stability of our citizens? And that's the only thing I wanted to say, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And, you know, to help reiterate through the chairs, it isn't a one-off issue that we're worried about. We listened to the radio and compiled data from this weekend. There's so many events this weekend, I can't even illustrate them all to you. But a caller saying, I smell wires burning inside the walls of my house is a non-emergent priority 2 run. No one knows what's going on. Those are some of our hardest working, most dangerous fires because we don't know where it's at and where it's traveling to. Dispatch telling a fire company, occupied high-rise apartment building, fire on the 10th floor, smoke coming from the apartment, non-emergent response. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This isn't well, there was one time on the radio and it's a gotcha moment. There's so many of them on my phone, I can't even keep them all straight. And in 30 days, it's going to be too late. We're going to lose somebody. We're going to lose some structures in the house, and fires that burn longer, burn hotter, are more dangerous to the firefighters. And now even in some of these homes that we developed this new lightweight building construction, we're going to have firefighters in the basements of houses that are on fire that have collapsed. And it's going to be within this 30 days that it happens. We've been doing this for 30 years apiece, and this is a very real thing.
Through the chair, sir.
In conclusion?
In conclusion, my dog is licensed. I have 3 Bostons, and I love them very much. This has a absolute dire impact on our fire and EMS, and not so much with the safety of our people getting there and overextending themselves on a wrong prioritized run, but the people we're protecting and serving now are questioning, well, what are you doing? I mean, what took you so long? You know, why no lights, no sirens? You know, what's the deal? And we've already had those conflicts in the street. The other thing I want to point out is that now that we've taken over MFR, we've got EMS under our umbrella, we've realized that the code system is why the EMS runs and their response times were so brutal, because fires picked up about 2,500 of those runs a month. The code and miscoded system shows now, it's very clear evidence that we're understaffed, undermanned in the city with EMS units, and the coding system, getting people to the priority ones, the cardiacs, not breathings, them being miscoded, has a major impact on that service time that you're talking about. Now they're telling us, just go slower and take your time. Vice President Harp, Lieutenant Harp made a tremendous comment, and that's the fact that we've had numerous runs in high-rises this weekend, some of them senior complexes, that the alarms did what they were supposed to do, and we found fire. We've had careless cooks, we've had small wire fires. Our guys get there quick. Fire doubles in size every 30 seconds. You're having our members overextend themselves. So I'm going to look at this legally as to what I'm going to do legally for the firefighters and EMS. But I am looking at right now, and I'm exploring a legal action on behalf of the public as well, because we did take that oath of obligation to protect the public, and the public can't understand what we're telling them right now. That's why I try to articulate it. We're not getting there when we're supposed to get there. I want and
Captain, in conclusion?
the mayor needs to let people know. It's his job. He's at the top of Mr. Duggan. Come out with it. Tell everybody exactly what's going on so they know how they're protected. That's not going to help with new business. That's not going to help people stay here.
Captain,
and honestly, it's
gotta come to
bad.
conclusion,
It's
Captain.
bad public safety business. I understand that.
Thank you. All right, so
30 days is
motion, there's been a request for a motion.
could be
At
amended.
this time, the chair would entertain a motion to bring this line item back in 30 days.
Mr. Chair, can we amend that motion to 2 weeks?
Motion to bring it back in 2 weeks. That's
So
a
moved.
motion?
Yes, sir.
Got objection, despite we'll bring this line item back in 2 weeks. Thank you all for coming up today. I want to make it very clear that I want to thank Member Ayers for bringing this to our attention. Every life within the city of Detroit matters, and we have to make sure that policies that we are implementing highlight that. Every life matters, and we need to make sure all of our people are safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for coming up
Thank
today.
you, sir, very much. Thank you.
All right. I know that we have a retractable leash, and I believe Member Ayers is in the foyer, or in the hallway, so let's just